This is the theme song for the live stream of consciousness. You've got to ask yourself whether reality is a dream or if you are dreaming reality. We are all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration. You are the master of reality's creation.
Welcome to Creating Reality. It all happens here in the live stream of consciousness. Now let's welcome your host of the moment, Michael Zinn.
Yes, it is the moment. It is a Thursday night. That's why I'm here. It is Thursday, April 9th, just checking the date. And we are in this moment, and I'm super freaking pumped because I invited somebody on the show that I encountered in the internet world and just immediately kind of resonated with what was going on and what he was doing, and kind of became a little bit of a part of his community very quickly, easily welcomed in to a music community. And my theme this year is creating reality. And I was like looking at this guy going, this guy's creating his own reality, which is how I'm seeing a lot of things these days. It's interesting. I talk about this a lot, but perspective is everything, right? And mindset is everything. And if you start saying something about, I want to see a red car, you're going to start to see a lot of red cars. So I'm seeing a lot of good stuff going on out there. People creating their own realities, being authentic. I think being authentic, if you're authentic, you're automatically creating your own reality because you're being who you're supposed to be. And I think that's what's going on. And I see so many people who have come over from Thomas's space. So I want to welcome everybody to this space. And thank you guys for coming over and checking it out. It's a little bit different. Thomas, I don't know if he knows this, but I see a little bit of a hippie dude in Thomas, and I'm a little bit older, and I think that's where I come from. But what I like to do on this show is kind of set an intention together, ground everybody together, and do something really simple. 3 breaths together in through the nose and hold and out. I do that while I'm playing my singing bowl here. Sage is what I've named her because I'm intentionally clearing out the space. I'm just kind of making space for this. And the breathing is something where when you breathe in and you hold it up at the top and then you let it out, like you intentionally think about the shit just for a moment, right? That happened during the day. Like some dude cut you off or whatever, like let it out, release it. Like all the stuff you don't need that kind of hit you the wrong way. That's what the 3 breaths are about here. So let's do it together and start with a little breath in, up to the top, and feel it leave. I can feel my shoulders dropping when I do that. Another breath in, up at the top, hold it just a second, and then just feel it leave. And last one. In through the nose, up at the top. And let it go. And there we go. Setting the intention. I'm going to open up the space for all amazing things to happen. Amazing conversation. Amazing people in and out of the chat room. I love it. Ninja Kitty is here. Ninja Kitty is one of the first people from episode 1 of the live stream of consciousness. What's up, Ninja? So let's do it. Let's create some reality together. I'm super excited. I have a guy on my show. His name is Thomas Christ. I don't know how I tripped across his YouTube channel, because I was immediately engaged, but then I said, I don't know how I haven't tripped across this YouTube channel. Like, why wouldn't it have been in my algorithm? It's amazing. I feel like I am in a time capsule, sitting in my basement watching MTV, but with all of my friends' bands. Like the premise is all submitted music. There's no mainstream music. I'm going to let Thomas talk about what he does and why, because I haven't asked him that yet. But let me introduce for the first time. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Thomas Christ. What's up, my friend?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm great. I don't know. I told you. You know, I'm a little bit of a hippie. I see a little bit of a hippie in you. We did talk about, you know, intention, and we talked about, you know, good vibes and stuff like that. So I know you're in tune with that. You definitely brought a lot of people to the party. I'm super excited. Thank you guys for coming here and checking it out. And if you like what you see, you know what you got to do. You got to subscribe, and you got to tell your friends, and continue to grow a community of people who are supportive of each other, people who are looking for the good. That's something that I see that you're doing all the time, Thomas.
Well, thank you.
So I want to just show people a little bit of what you do, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
I hope that I don't get any sort of copyright strike, but I do have it queued up. I have share the audio. I have your show queued up and the intro. I think that's a good little sample of the vibe.
Yeah.
So let me share that real quick so people can see exactly what we're talking about. And even the it's all about music, right? And independent music and creating music. But even the starting soon music, is that original music of yours? I'm imagining.
No, you know what? That's from the YouTube library.
Oh, it's from the YouTube library. You know, I was like, oh my God.
A lot of the stuff I do on shows that I do is original music and the actual intro, but
Right.
this little I call it a splash screen. It's not.
I call them stingers. Oh, this is a splash screen. But yeah, and that's funny because that's exactly I was like, that's exactly like the stock music that I used to use when I was like creating videos. Like it's, you know, just from a library, but it's awesome. It totally fits. So let's put it on. So this is playing for like a couple of minutes before you go live. I've only got like 10 seconds or so playing, and then the intro.
Escape to paradise.
You rock TV.
Cool. The best indie music.
We come from a different place. A place where time is healing.
Premieres.
Solid gold rockers.
Always stay connected to your dream.
Expect the unexpected.
I want my rock TV.
The future lies ahead.
New artists.
The outside broadcast. You mean like sort of on-the-spot news reporting?
Covers are rad.
The perfect moment in history.
Your most rocking music. Send that shiz in.
Discover the wonder.
You rock TV.
You rock TV. You rock TV.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So many nods. And that's
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Sorry about that. So many nods to MTV, in my opinion. There.
Well, actually, what I did was I sat there, and they have. If you go on YouTube, there's recordings of like actual like 120 minutes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I had been doing this show. Keep in mind the whole like MTV premise only came up about last fall. I've been doing this show since 2001, and I was kind of looking for a new angle and trying to do something a little bit different. And originally, I had gone to like a pre-recorded show, and so this was the intro for the pre-recorded show originally.
Gotcha.
And I was kind of like doing it in advance and trying to make it like an actual like an MTV show as much as I could. But what I found was that there was something missing when I did that, and that was the live kind of engagement that you get. And the views went. I watched it go from like, you know, every episode getting like 400 or 500 views to getting like 200, and I was like, I got to go back to live because this is not working.
So it was,
and it was more work anyway.
it was that intro with a pre-recorded show, and it wasn't
Yeah.
getting as many views. But when you went live, the views came back.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I think the live, for me, the live aspect of what we're doing is a big part of it. You know, especially when you're creating a community, you know, for people to feel like they're part of the community and actually talk to each other. I love looking in the chat room and everybody's like saying hello to each other, right? They're not looking to say something just to get on the screen. They're just like they're talking to each other. That's authenticity. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's support, and it's all about the live for me, says Gary Hubbs. Nice.
And I was doing it I was doing it as a premiere, but for whatever reason, I've just found, and I think it's been more true lately, like premieres just don't do well. When you premiere a video on YouTube,
when you put like the 2 minutes or whatever before it.
yeah, and you have the live chat and everything, but like
Mhm.
it just doesn't do what live does.
Interesting. I didn't know that. That's actually a good tip, because I do. I was telling you I produce the stand up memories, and we do that live in the studio for the studio's channel, but then we do it for our own channel during the week on Wednesdays. And I do always set it as a premiere. I should probably just set it as a live, and people will just kind of jump on because they think it's live, even though it's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. No, that's it. I learned something already. That's awesome.
I learned too. Sometimes you learn lessons the hard way, you know.
That's awesome. Well, it's interesting that you say you were doing it pre-recorded, because I feel like watching you, you're like so much. That's so much you're oh my God, I can't believe I'm losing my words. It's like natural. You're a natural. Like, it seems like you love talking about the videos, you know what I mean? You love talking to the people you know, in the audience. It's just really, like I said, it's just a really good vibe, very, very smooth. And I don't know, something about the MTV thing really just brings me back, you know. It's like,
And that's the thing about it. That's why I don't regret that I did that,
right.
because it changed the show in such a cool way. And it really helped me to streamline my process. Because one of the things that we were doing, and there are other channels, like Pete Johns was here in the chat, and he does a show called Your Music Live, which is you know, very similar kind of thing. And what we were all doing was we were just playing the videos off of YouTube, and then, you know, kind of you know, screen capturing, and
Right.
you send the audio out. But what I discovered was it's a little bit better and smoother if you have the actual videos, like the video files, and then I put those together, and then, you know, I do these kind of blocks of like, you know, 3 to 5, 6 videos, and they're all made into one video. They have the titles already there, so all I have to do is use VLC. It goes over to screen 2, and then it's really, really slick. So I'm glad that I kind of did that little jaunt over to pre-recorded, because I think it made the show like a little bit better.
Yeah, it helped you evolve your format, which is awesome. And I love that. I think that whole part of the vibe, when I saw the show, and then like the middle break comes up, and it's almost like, you know, the commercial for itself. It's like, hey, you know, if you're a musician and you got music, go to thomaschrist.net, or is it Thomas Christ? Yeah, thomaschrist.net, and you know, submit your song. I'm actually going to make a banner and pop that up on the bottom there. I did add you to the bottom, if you haven't noticed there. Some of my favorite podcasts I put up on a banner, and so let's put thomaschrist.net, and I'll put that on the bottom for people to just take a look at that. That's where they can find out more about you as a musician, you know, all of that stuff. There we go. So yeah, I want to hear a little bit about your journey. I want to put you on the spot, right? Normally you're hosting the show, and this show started a few years back. And what I would do, and this is probably not your thing, and I thought it would be cool to kind of bring it back. I haven't done it in a while. Is I would always ask my guests a question at the beginning, and that question would be, in your perception, what is consciousness?
Well, consciousness to me is just the state of, like, you go to sleep at night, and you wake up in the morning, and you're able to see things and perceive things, so you're conscious until your head hits the pillow later at night, and then you're unconscious again. Or if you're like me and you have a lunch and you just kind of like pass out and like, what the heck happened there?
Interesting. But
But
so
yeah,
that's interesting, and I can appreciate that answer. But what is that other part then? You don't think that's a different part of consciousness?
which part is that?
The part when you're sleeping and dreaming and not conscious,
Well,
unconscious, you call it.
yes, I do think. I mean, obviously, we all need to sleep. Most of us don't get enough of it. But I used sometimes you get into a space where you have dreams and stuff like that. And I have I could have very very unusual dreams that you just kind of think back on and you're like, what the heck was that? But most of the time, like anymore, and I guess it just maybe it's like the state that you're in. Like I fall asleep and immediately, like next thing I know, it's time to wake up the next day, and I don't remember anything that happened in between those 2 points.
Interesting. Okay. No, that's interesting. And that's a lot of times those are the kinds of things that I talk about on my show, right? Like what are the possibilities of these other realms and, spirits and dreams and are we living in a simulation? All of this kind of like deep thinking stuff. But part of my deep thinking has just led me to this belief that we are here on earth to experience, enjoy it, and make the most out of it, and not let the experience control it, right? Like respond to it the way you want to and make it the way you want it. And creating reality is exactly what came out of that for me. I started realizing that my response to things and the way I treat things and my energy that I put out is my reality. That becomes my reality and who I am. And then, naturally, I was telling you earlier about the Sacred Spiral Network and different things that I've been able to do. I'm so grateful for all of the opportunities that I've had. And that comes from just being me and knowing I'm authentically me. Excuse me. So that's what I saw in you. And again, so I brought you here to kind of tell me your story. I know that you're a musician, but I don't really know much about that, how you got into that. I actually have caught you doing some live performance. So you're besides the MTV style show, you actually do live musical performances as well of your own original music, right?
Yeah, and that's actually that was the first show that I did. It wasn't You Rock. It was Thomas Christ Live originally, a creative title. And then I don't know what it was, about 6 months, 8 months ago, maybe a year, I changed it to Hour of Rock, because it was kind of like I actually had 3 shows on. I had 3 shows on the channel, and you had You Rock, Hour of Rock, and Make It Rock, which was where I talked about like the creative process.
Okay.
And right now I don't have the Make It Rock, but I have the other 2. So it's kind of like all just kind of like going with the theme, sort of.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. I love rock, the whole rock thing. And that's even like a bit of your persona, I would say. You're just like this rock dude. There's a little bit of goth sometimes. I guess if you watch the show, you can see. I mean, I love the diversity of the music on the show. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's a musician show. It's for somebody who can appreciate music on all sorts of levels. And it's kind of funny because growing up, I was a total metalhead, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, and then later on Pantera and Slipknot and some of these heavy bands. And as I got older and I started to experience like meditation music and spa music, like that really appealed to me and calmed my nerves. And now, even though I occasionally can pop on some Slipknot and enjoy it and bang my head, well, I can get into anything that's playing, really, if I need to.
Yeah.
But there are moments where I'm like, oh my God, that vibe, like I don't really want that vibe right now. You know what I mean? It's like too loud or too much, you know. But I guess, like I said, that's a mood thing, you know. You certainly,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, everybody's human, you know, that we have our
There's a time and place for every kind of style of music. I mean, I can appreciate. I love a lot of the and I really admire the people who can create like these really intricate ambient tracks with lots of kind of like these big soundscapes.
Yep.
They'd evolve and change and stuff. Like that stuff is really cool. I can't wrap my head around it because I'm always thinking about music in terms of like verse, chorus, chorus, refrain.
Right.
And then when you take lyrics away, what do we do now?
Right. It's a whole different, it's a whole different journey, right? And you even talk about it that way when you're playing that section of music, you're like, wow, we just went into outer space, you know. You talk about it like a journey. I just want to acknowledge Tim Lorenz, who's in the audience, and his son Taryn, who's been going through some stuff in the hospital, but it looks like he had a good result and he had his 4th birthday. So I want to say happy birthday to Taryn and welcome to Tim. I again, the diversity of what you're doing, and the fact that you have such a wide community of people in the audience who also seem to appreciate that diversity, right? Like, because then you'll have like some sort of comedy German punk rock on, you know what I mean? And everyone gets it. Everyone's just like, oh, this is cool. And everyone, you know, everyone looks for the good in it, right? Like, oh, what did I enjoy from that? You know, which is something that we were talking about before the show is perspective and philosophy and how, you know, the energy that you bring to something. It's like people are coming to your channel not to like make bad comments and be like, oh, these guys suck. You know what I mean? I've never seen any of that on your channel. And kudos to you for that. I mean, that's a really tough job in this day and age. And, you know, you've really, again, I think because your vibe is so intentional, what you're transmitting, you're receiving that back, you know?
Yeah. Well, that and anybody that causes any trouble, or they're going to be gone. And this guy Pete knows because I'm a mod for his channel, and we don't put up with anything.
So that's interesting. I know you have a bunch of moderators, and you're saying that really helps kind of prune the community and keep the trolls out, because they're certainly going to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare.
Although I think YouTube is getting better with the you know, with their kind of automatic you know, removal of that kind of thing, because it used to be really bad. We used to have these like we called them the sex bots, and they would come in and they would just post like XXX whatever the heck over and over again, and you know, it was like playing whack-a-mole with these things.
No, they definitely did better. I remember there was a point where automated stuff came in, but they got rid of that pretty quick. And occasionally somebody will come into one of my shows and be like, oh, what the hell is this woo-woo crap? You know what I mean? And it's like, that's fine. You know, none of the stuff that I do is like, hey, you should believe this way. You know what I mean? I talk to people who come from all different places, and I try to find common ground with them. I was telling you about Flat Earth Dave and like different conversations, you know, conversations with, you know, transsexuals who are in relationships with life-size dolls. You know what I mean? Like, changed my life just to have these conversations, right? And just be like a listening participant, right? And not a judging participant.
Yeah, and that's cool that they get the chance to come in and tell their story and stuff like that. I think that's an incredible thing.
Yeah, we have some amazing conversations, and again, diversity, right? Just across the board. It's not only one thing. I'm definitely trying to. I mean, I know a lot of you know, the psychic mediums, and that metaphysical kind of aspect was a big thing, but I'm also a musician, and I know a lot of actors and filmmakers, so I've had those kinds of people on the show as well, just kind of, you know, talking about how they're navigating through life. So tell me about your music. Tell me where you started. I mentioned it a couple times and we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, so when I was really young, I kind of developed around the age of 4 or 5 years old the ability to just like hear a song, and then I could play it on a keyboard.
Wow.
Like at least the melody, you know, just the basic melody of it. And From there, I took like piano and organ lessons, and really a keyboardist, you know. And I was always a difficult person for them to deal with because, like, and even to this day, like, I still struggle with some aspects of like reading music, like sheet music and stuff.
Sure.
I kind of prefer, if I really have to do that, I kind of prefer to work from like lead sheets with the chords and the melody rather than like having the 4-part and everything.
Sure. Yeah.
But I did manage to find a few teachers who were good at understanding that, like, you know, I was better at hearing something and then repeating it back.
Right.
And that's how I kind of learned. And then I kind of started getting, you know, Casio keyboards, you know, a lot of us have.
I remember those. Yeah.
Casio key, but they're awesome. They're awesome. They're incredible.
Sure.
And they do a lot of, they're not very expensive. They do a lot of things. And I started to experiment with creating my own types of music. And, you know, my musical journey as far as like what I would listen to, I started off probably with hip hop and rap. I was listening to like Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer and all that.
Okay.
And then Crisscross. Do you remember Crisscross?
Yeah, of course.
The kids with the backwards pants.
Where you at, Chris?
Yeah.
Tear it up or something, right?
Warm it up, Chris.
Warm it up, Chris. Yeah. I remember that for sure.
But I was lucky to have neighbors who were into they were a little older than me, and they were into like Metallica and Pantera and stuff. You were talking about Pantera, and some of the heavier metal and stuff, and I kind of got into that. And then that's when the whole Nirvana thing happened, and I really got into Nirvana because that was the first thing that I kind of felt like, okay, this is my generation's music, you know.
Right.
So my love is always first and foremost is with everything 90s.
Okay.
Like the early to mid 90s.
Yeah, I think that kind of is apparent. Yeah.
Yeah. Like all the grunge stuff. And then I got into like, and then I found Korn. And that was like a whole revelation. Hearing that first Korn album.
So I have a Korn story. I think I was seeing Candlebox at like Hammerstein Ballroom, and I went into the bathroom, and you know how they have like this shelf sometimes in front of you at the urinal?
Yeah.
Korn's cassette demo tape was there. They were like had them all along there, and they were giving them out, and then we grabbed it and we listened to it on the way home, and we were like, what the fuck is this? The bass was just like blowing out our speakers in our car. We're like, what is this? And then we got into it like pretty quickly. And yeah, Korn was. I was like,
that was a, you know, I think it's understated how big of a revelation that was to hear like kind of hip hop elements subtly brought into like this dark, you know, I guess you call it like a I'm not good with genres, but like grindcore, I guess you might call it. And
well, I think that moment in time, I can remember a lot of bands from kind of the hair metal days through grunge and through Korn and new metal or whatever you want to call that. Like there were a lot of bands that changed the scene, right? Like there'd be like Metallica came out, and then like all of these bands sound like Metallica, but then there are, if you're into that, if you're not into that, you're going to think Metallica and Anthrax sound the same, right? But if you're into it, you can hear the subtle difference. And then I think there were bands like oh my God, who were we just talking about? Korn, that came out that really, like you said, mixed genres, and you know, it just opened up the world of music, and then so many other bands were able to follow, and you know, now it's like crazy the style.
And that was the thing that was like the common thread. If you want to find like this common thread through like all the 90s music, it was this authenticity that always felt like it was lacking. You listen to, now there's some stuff from, I'm a big fan of Jefferson Airplane in the 60s. Well, you listen to some of that stuff, and if people didn't know it was from the 60s, they would never believe that it wasn't created like in the 2000s.
Right.
Because some of it is just, it was, nobody gives Jefferson Airplane the credit that I think they deserve for being freaking out there and revolutionary.
Right. Well, I feel that way about some bands that I hear now. I feel like, wow, those guys sound like they were recorded in the 60s. Like, what's that band that, oh my God, Wolf Mother? Wolfmother, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like they sound like they're stepping out of a time machine.
Well, that's the thing now. Everybody's kind of like trying to rewind the clock and go
Yeah.
back to these older styles. But it just seemed like, you know, and you look at the 80s, there's a lot of good stuff in the 80s,
Mhm.
but a lot of it just seemed really super polished. And it was like, this is exactly what somebody in a corporate boardroom wanted to
Yeah.
happen. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and you had all those guys with the. I love the hair metal. It's fun, you know, and it's a lot of fun to listen
But
to.
it became a caricature of itself.
Yeah,
You
but
know
then
what I mean?
Nirvana hit the scene, and at the same time, you also had like in the hip hop side, you had like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and stuff,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
all of a sudden, like we went from like hair metal to Nirvana, who
Right.
was just bearing this dude who was seriously depressed and tortured, just
Right.
bearing his soul in these songs. And then at the same time, you had like you went from Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer and the baggy pants and all that and the sequin jackets to, you know, guys that were from like Compton and South Central and stuff and telling their real stories about like living on the streets and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah.
that's just defines the 90s for me.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like you're right. Like it was more authentic, emotional music. Whereas previous to that, it was like storytelling. You know what I mean? If you look at Iron Maiden, right? Like that's like all like fantasy books
Yeah.
and things like that. You know what I mean? And I mean, it got dark. It talked about demons and stuff like that. And but yeah, I think for a while music was storytelling, and then the 90s it became kind of like a personal thing, you know, like here's
Yeah.
my personal struggles and things like that. Yeah, no, and I guess that's what connects it to people, right? People feel like they can relate to the different stories that are being told, you know.
And then for me, like really like you know, freaking I see because I'm really into industrial music, and how that happened was like I found out about like Marilyn Manson and
Mhm.
9 Inch Nails,
Mhm,
and I
mhm.
was like, wow, okay, this is like we're going to the next level now with this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it just seemed to like take everything to like this extreme. And so
Yeah.
that's what I was drawn to. And there is the basis of most of Thomas Christ.
Okay, so I'm gonna imagine that you approve, but tell me what you think of Skrillex.
Skrillex, I've heard a few things. I really kind of like once we got into like the, you know, past the MySpace era and right around there, I just kind of like tuned out of everything. So I there's only very few things that I know about that happened at post like 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised to hear that. I was Skrillex's dubstep for anyone who hasn't heard Skrillex music. And there's a really funny skit that what is it? The Key and Peele do about listening to dubstep. Um, they're like moving, the guy's moving, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for coming over and helping me." He's like, "You want to hear some of this new music I got? It's dubstep." and they press play, and then all of a sudden, like everything goes into slow motion, and they start throwing the dishes around, and they're like, "What?" and like freaking out. And then he turns it off. He's like, "What the hell's going on?" Because it's so chaotic and it's so
Yeah.
like aggressively. I don't know if you've never heard dubstep, but to me, I loved it because it was so new. It was still musical to me. I was like, wow, this is still music, but this is like someone's just taking like industrial tools and
Yeah.
smashing them against the walls and like, you know, it was pretty funny. But
Yeah, when I first heard dubstep, I was like, all right, this is probably like this is getting into like the future of techno music here. And they had those gnarly like those synth basses that were really like it sounded like a person screaming or something, like or a
Yeah.
machine like gone awry. Like it
Oh yeah, yeah.
that stuff was cool. I did like that.
Yeah, no, I did too. But I get it. And listen, I used to say when I was growing up and I was like into bands, I was listening to Incubus and the Chili Peppers and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of the people who were my age, they had stopped at like Van Halen. And they, you know, they didn't go past that. They were like, you know, you said Incubus, and they were like, "What do you know, you like that stuff, that new metal stuff?" But to me, that was another band that I feel like was kind of, you know, really kind of opened up the genres. You know, they did a lot of mixing, crossing over of the genres, and they were like very heavy, but they were also melodic. And They were another one of my favorite bands. Who are your favorite bands?
See, that's it. That's a hard question to answer.
Top five that come to your head. The first five that come to your head.
Top five. Well, I would have to say we'll put a tie between Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson. We'll go Nirvana. We'll go My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult. That's a deeper cut.
Wow.
That's a deeper cut, but they're an industrial band
Yep.
that's been around. Okay, yeah, they've been around since the 80s, but they kind of mixed up industrial with like dance music and stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose there has to be a place for the Beatles.
Okay.
In there.
Fair. I'm sure that's fair. Yeah.
And let's put NWA.
Okay. That's a good mix. So let's go back to My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult.
Mm-hmm.
That to me reminds me of, that was kind of like, I guess it's not quite the same, but you're saying industrial, like Ministry. It wasn't quite the KM FDM.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that other band? Oh my God, the Girls. It was like very sexual. They're actually back again. Oh my God, I forget. They had a song about my pussy and show
Lords of Acid.
Lords of Acid. That's it. Yeah.
Saw them live.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. Amazing, right? So I mean, it's great, right? That music can take you on such to such different places, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that you can appreciate all of those different things. It's kind of funny when you see someone who's just into one kind of style of music. You're like, how do you not listen to other stuff?
Yeah.
So what do you play? You play a little bit of everything, I'm imagining, like being influenced by Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. In what sense do you mean?
Well, I mean, if you wanted to put together music, is your preference to do it all yourself, or is your preference to find a nice band and play with other people?
No, I've done everything myself from the very beginning. In fact, like my first 3 albums were literally like I'm playing a keyboard, I'm using the auto rhythms on the keyboard, and I'm singing into like a headset microphone because I didn't have any kind of multi-track capability.
So you recorded your first album live?
Yeah, the first 3 albums.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
So I kind of worked the song out in advance and then just kind of went in and did it as best I could and did it until it was good enough to be the album version.
And what did you record it on? Just a cassette tape?
Yeah, I started out with cassettes, but fortunately, I'm very glad this happened. I did get a mini disc recorder right around the time that I recorded the first album, so I have everything on digital at least, which is
Is
nice.
And is that like a little silver disc, or is that like a DAT tape?
Well, see, they had this concept, and it was only around for a brief period of time between like about 1999 and 2004. It was like a CD, like a CDR, in a plastic case about like that big, 3x4 or something, and you would just pop it in there, and you could record on it like a CDR, but it's protected in this plastic thing. I kind of wish they would have caught on because it was a really nice format.
Yeah. And they were re-recordable, right? You could record. Yeah. I remember that. That was interesting. And so you have a lot of your original stuff in that format and still have the players and can play it, or did you have to transfer it out? You get it on a computer now?
Yeah, well, I have everything in as many places as I can have it. But I still have the actual, like, I had a big deck for the mini disc and that broke. But I do have the like the little like portable version, and that's how I got everything. There were some things that I hadn't digitized already because a lot of stuff I burned to CD before, but I was able to get it off that portable player. So
So were you like previous to that, were you like a MIDI whiz? Like, are you pretty versed in MIDI, or is that?
I feel like MIDI is one of those things that like it takes a day to learn, but a lifetime to master. Because there's so many complexities with MIDI, and you can really get into the weeds. And I see people that have these really complicated multi device setups with MIDI that just would make your head explode. And there's no way I'd be able to figure all that out. But I can work out the stuff that I needed to know. I was able to work out.
Well, I think these days, like, the software takes care of most of it, it's like really
Yeah.
like, it's really amazing. And I think that's a good point to kind of get to this whole creating your reality
Mhm.
aspect, right? Which is, we're living in such an amazing time right now where first of all, we could do this, right? Like we're having a show right now. You're in your house, I'm in my
Yeah.
house. All these other people are in their houses just hanging out, watching and chilling out. Like that's just amazing in itself. And then I love that you can make communities by focusing in on a certain interest like music, and music is such a great one. So like pretty much when I'm watching your show, I feel like I'm just watching a dude having fun. You know what I mean? Like you're doing what you love, and
Yeah.
again, like that's just amazing. And I got to give you kudos to you go on your show. So is it once a week?
Yes,
The
every Wednesday. Now, because like I said, we're in this ecosystem where we have a few other, channels and stuff. And some of the creators that we have are from Australia, and
Mhm.
they do their show at like 8 in the morning so
Right.
that they could be on in like prime time in the United States.
Gotcha.
So my show varies, but right now over the summer we're at 7 p.m. In the wintertime it'll get as early as 5 p.m. And it's
Right.
just because of all the world time changes.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I picked 9, but not based on UK, but based on East and West Coast,
Yeah.
because I wanted people to, be home from work or whatever. But I'm still kind of figuring that out. I guess I just got comfortable in my space, in my Thursday nights, and now I'm doing the Tuesday nights. Which is cool. I think, I think that's also a part of it. Like people know when to expect you. I like barely missed a day. And then when I did, I would get a text like, "Hey, is there a show tonight? Like what's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, they do love me. They care." Uh, so it's very cool. And again, I love that vibe when I'm watching your show. Um, Gary Hubbs cannot part with his mini disc recorder still.
No, you gotta have it.
That's awesome. So let's talk about your community a little bit.
Mhm.
Who do we got here, and what do they do? Like you seem to really be intimate with everybody. Like I guess from over the year or however long you've been doing it for, the specifically you rock like the submissions. You have gold members who like get a part of the show. They get a section. Let me
Mhm.
tell everybody, by the way, Thomas goes on for what is it, 3-4 hours? Your show.
Yeah, it's been averaging about like 3.5 lately.
3.5 hours.
The shows used to be a lot longer. They
Mhm.
used to go like almost 7 hours. There was a few.
Wow. Wow. And
Uh,
that's authentic, pure love
yeah.
for, hey, I'm just cool. I'm just doing this because I want to do it. I don't care. I don't even care if nobody's watching me for these 7 hours. And that's how I feel sometimes. But gratefully everybody shows up and we have a great time. Um, so oh, I forgot what I was going to say, where I was going to go with this. So you do the show for 3 or 4 hours, and
Mhm.
then you have the after show. Is that pre-recorded, the after shows?
No, those are live
Those
as
are
well.
also live, right?
And that was just the thing we started to kind of give you, because you have the channel membership, and all you really get for that is like the emojis and stuff. So it's kind of nice, and it's a nice way to just unwind after the show and give the members something a little extra. And I usually just go on there, and that's where the real gold is, because I just like go and whatever topics come up, and we just spin a yarn for about 30 minutes or so afterwards.
Cool. I love that. I love that. I haven't seen that. I don't know. So I did recently become a subscriber to your show. Folks, it's 99 cents a month, and I got to tell you, I was like, I didn't even have to think twice. I was like, I like this dude. I could give him $1 a month just because I'm watching him like I'm watching him. And not only that, but before I was a subscriber, I think I submitted 2 or 3 songs, and you played them with no problem. I know you look
Yeah.
for that to support the show. But again, you even say it on the show, like it's not expected. You're here for that. You're not here for the money. You know what I mean? You're here for the music.
Yeah, and it's always been something that I grappled with, because like I feel like, when people invest in what you're doing, you should really, try to give back to them.
Yep.
And so I feel like they need to have that spot in the show so they get the kind of first half.
Sure.
But I always put the first thing that I do in the show is I always play new artists.
Yep.
And then I have a spot where you can premiere your songs. in a place where, because if you can do the YouTube premieres, but we talked about that earlier,
Yep.
that sometimes you don't get a lot of people watching it, and so why not send it in as an unlisted video that nobody's ever seen before, and then I can play it for the first time,
I love
and you'll have 30 people or so watching
that.
that new song that you just
Yep.
put out.
Yeah. And having said that, it seems to me that you've got people who are members of your community that actually produce music specifically to be premiered. Like they're just like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a place where I can work on something for the week, and boom, I can send it in, and it's a premiere, and it's like, and that's a part of
Because,
creating-
dude, I created music for what was it, like 15 years, where I knew not a single person was ever going to listen to it.
Right.
And I might put it out there on Bandcamp. I put it up on YouTube. You maybe have 3 views on things.
Right.
So I can only imagine, like like I know for me, it's cool to have places to go to put music out there, and I can only imagine for these people as well. It's an awesome thing to just have a place where I know I can put my music, and it's going to be at least by a few folks. It'll be celebrated.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I love that it's a platform for that. You know what I mean? You created a space specifically for that, which I don't think really existed in a lot of forms. I mean, yeah, there are probably places and, clubs and things like that, but on the internet, it's just such a cool thing. Especially like live and regularly every week. And it becomes a thing. Like, I know for me, like we were talking about it before, I never expected to be in front of the camera on a show, but like just the first couple of times, the response, and even like getting an email from someone saying, hey, you talked about this, and it really like helped me, in that moment. Like I really needed to hear that in that moment. Like that's all the reward you need, right? Is just like connecting with another human being out there who gets what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I kind of envy you in a way, because you get to talk about all these diverse subject matters and all these spiritual things and everything.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel like, because I do a show where I play people's music, I do a show where I play my own music, but I'm kind of thinking about ways where I can do stuff where like I do in the little post game shows that we have, where I can just talk about whatever.
Right.
And
invite visitors on, invite a guest on, have an
Yeah.
interview section. You know what I mean? Like like, honestly, I gotta say, and I'm just responding to the conversation. I can remember a point in my life where I wanted nothing to do with people. I just thought, like, I thought that, and I have told this story before, my attitude was that 95% of the people that I was going to meet on any given day were complete morons, really had no clue about like existing on a planet with other people. They were just in their own world. And this is what I thought. And I think I was really passionate about thinking that. And that's what I was getting. And I realized that I was creating my own reality, right? It's the same thing in the other direction. And then when I started realizing that people are inherently good, and I started looking for the good in people, things changed. And it was me changing myself that actually changed the world. Which is amazing, because it changed the world that I was experiencing. Doesn't matter if it changed the world at large, you know what I mean? It changed the world that I was experiencing, which in a way is it changing the world, right? And if we all did that, then it would be just a better place. I just want to say what's up to Pat Pauser, who says, she says, oh no, Tim says it. Tim says, I got pretty much every format back to Edison cylinder.
right on.
Which is awesome. I thought that was Pat Pauser that said that. That's awesome, man. And so cool that like I said, like this community that you have. You started telling me that a lot of the people in your community also have shows, and you guys all kind of work with each other on the shows, which is very much like the Sacred Spiral Network. Tell me about that. Maybe we should talk about putting a network together, a music network that actually houses all of these shows together.
Well, I've thought that at times too. But yeah, it's just kind of a loose network of, I know, for me, it's Pete John's Studio Live Today. He's a great resource for like GarageBand on iOS and Logic Pro, which they've now released on, but anything that's on the iPad recording music, he does that. We have Jade Starr, who does the the third party apps for iPads, as well as interviews and live performances. We have
cool.
the Leelaverse, who is Leela, who's one of the mods on my channel, and
Yeah.
she does like a, where she creates music on iPad and creates art, and then she also does a live performance, and she does like a midnight chill show. We have Frank Terzo, who he got his start. He was just a guy who sent in great music. And
I'm smiling because I hear all these names every week that you're talking about on the show. I hear you talking about them, and even see them playing some music.
But he got his start. He was just playing great music, and then he got the idea that like he was kind of going to be like the information network of like getting your just what all is happening.
Right.
Like who's releasing songs. He reads this whole. He's got paper. He reads it off papers. All the songs that are being released, and now he brings on interview guests as well, and he talks to them and promotes what they're doing. So it's a really cool network that we have, and there's even more people out on the periphery of it that are loosely associated, and it's a fun thing. It's a good thing and a cool thing.
And it's also a testament, I think, to passion, right? Like you're saying, he gathers all of this information because he's passionate about it. He's excited about it. He wants to be the first one to tell you about it. He wants to be like, hey, check out this. I saw this. That's great. Let me ask you a question. You're in the music community, not so much the spiritual community, although again, I view you as totally spiritual and in touch with your own self. Do you know who Bashar is?
No.
Interesting. Okay, so Bashar is very like within, I guess, the spiritual community, but he's like a channeler, and he channels like this. Bashar, his name's Daryl Anka, and I believe he's actually related to Paul Anka, which is interesting, right? Musical connection. But he channels Bashar, and Bashar is this alien entity who just talks about like the message. It's not the experience and like the channeling, it's the message. And it's follow your passion. You're here to follow your passion, and when you do, good things will happen. Like that's the way, that's the secret to life, to winning life, is to follow your passion and understand that doesn't mean that everything is going to be amazing. You're going to come across some hurdles, there's going to be some adversity along the way. But I've been speaking about lately, when I have an adverse experience and I'm going through something bad, I'm kind of excited that I'm going through it, because I know I'm going to be somewhere else at the end of it. Not only am I going to get through it, but I'm going to be better for having gotten through it. You know what I mean? And that's just like, it's like hindsight is my foresight is my hindsight, right?
Yeah.
So it's
I do think, and I do think a lot of that, like a lot of the Eastern spirituality is really cool, because we're so used to in the West, it's like about like creeds, and it's about what exact deity do you believe in, and being very specific about that. And in the East, it seems like it's more like no, this is like some good, this is how we should live, and this is how we should treat each other, and this is how we'll feel better about ourselves, and this is how we'll feel better about the way that we interact with the world and each other. And I just think that's such a cool thing.
It is a cool thing,
and it's refreshing. It's refreshing when you come from what we come from in the West.
Totally.
Totally.
Totally. And I think here's something good though, right? And this applies to you and it applies to me, right? Social media and this platform, YouTube, can be such a battlefield and such a, like, think of how many shows you see that are out there just like bashing other people and talking about all the fear and all the stuff that's going on. So it's like, you and I, we've taken this opportunity to use this platform to be passionate about what we're passionate about and talk about what we want to talk about, which is why I'm suggesting to you, like, have people on your show, have a guest, somebody that you watch, right, that you're like interested in, invite them on your show. Say, come on my show and let's just have a conversation about what you do and how it relates to what I do. Because what I say a lot on this show is that this show is a chance for everyone to bring their piece of the puzzle, right? Because life is a big puzzle. We all fit in that puzzle somewhere, and we all got to like hold up our piece and say, hey, where do I fit? Oh, I fit over here next to you guys, or I fit over here next to you guys. And I just love that. You know what I mean? Evelyn is here. Sounds like a great conversation. It is. Thomas Christ is an amazing guy creating reality. She came in late. So Evelyn and anyone who came in here late, Thomas Christ is has his own channel on YouTube called You Rock TV, which is very reminiscent to me of the old MTV. But I feel like it's even better than the old MTV because it's like a no judgment MTV. It's like everybody's welcome there. You know, you can submit your own music that he'll play, and there's an audience of 50 people there at any given moment that are just commenting and giving you usually good opinions. I haven't seen anybody really saying, "Oh, this music sucks." You know, so if somebody thinks that it's not good and it's not their thing, they're respectful enough to just be like, I don't have anything to add to this conversation. I'm not going to say anything, right? And that's fair too, right? You know, not everything is for everybody. So it's all good. Arnie Layton is here too. What's up, guys?
Hey, Arnie.
You missed a good conversation. You guys are coming in at the end. You got to check out Thomas on his thomaschrist.net is his own website where you can see a little bit more of his music as well. And there are links there to submit your music to You Rock TV, and links to go check out You Rock TV. I super strongly recommend that you do, because if you're into music, if you like music, you will absolutely appreciate what Thomas is doing. So what's in the future for you, Thomas? Where are you going with this all, or is it just this is the moment?
Well, I mean that's the $1 million question, but yeah, like I was saying, I want to diversify the content a little bit more. Even though they say you shouldn't do that, I'm gonna throw caution to the wind and try some different stuff, and but keep doing the things that are working and the things that people are enjoying, and like You Rock TV and like Hour of Rock. That's not going anywhere, because that's my one chance to like just be the rock star and you know, get on the stage and perform, and so I'll always be doing that. But
and so when I saw you, your music was heavy-ish. It was like rock. It was like it had balls to it, let's say.
yeah.
But I'm imagining you probably have a diverse library of your own music.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've recorded a total of, well, right, there's 20 albums, but the 20th isn't out yet. I'm still working on releasing that. But it's been since 1999, and so I perform everything from across that catalog, which is cool because it gives me a wide selection.
Nice.
And sometimes I even remember how some of those songs go, and we have a good time. And it's a lot of fun. So
nice. And I love that you're always giving a shout out to your wife in the upstairs or downstairs. You're like, oh, that's my wife.
I wouldn't want to go back downstairs if I didn't do that. You know.
That's great. Thomas, you're awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's fun, and I'm going to continue to visit your show and probably submit music. Actually, Tim, I saw Tim earlier. I don't know if you saw the comment. He said he's going to submit some music.
Send them on in
to your show. Yeah, awesome.
That's our thing. We say hashtag send it in.
Yeah. I love that. So again, thank you. Do you have any? This is again, your audience is here as well, but my audience is here too. So do you have any words of wisdom, of love, any dad jokes for my audience?
It's 10 o'clock at night. No, I just think you know, follow your passions, follow your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You know. Yeah,
totally.
I'll quote Jade Starr. Do what makes you happy. She has a song about that, and that's what she says, and I think it's a perfect thing.
Amazing message. That's exactly what we got to do. And Leela, who's been here since day one, knows that this is my happy place. So thank you for joining me in my happy place and bringing all your friends. If you guys liked what you saw, come on back. Every week we have great conversations. I've had Tommy Chong, Flat Earth Dave, Thomas Christ, amazing guests on my show. So thank you guys for being here. Don't go away, Thomas. I want to talk to you after the credits.
No problem.
But everybody else, have a great night, and thank you for being here. Peace.
This is the theme song for the live stream of
consciousness. You gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or a new dream or reality. We're all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come and join us for the moment.